Yes, hello everyone. Am I audible? Am I audible to everyone? Just write yes or no in the chat box. Am I audible or not? Just write yes or no in the chat box if I'm audible. Yes, hello Pawan. Am I audible? Okay. So hello everyone. My name is Pranshu Rathor and I work as a technical manager for skillected.com. Right. So today this webinar is all about React.js, right? So I'll just give you an overview of what React.js is, right? So React.js is simply a library of JavaScript, right? So library is just some pre-written code, pre-written configurations, pre-written template, which we directly use in our applications, right? So with React.js, you can make applications, right? Both for the web and the mobile, right? For the mobile, you can use React Native. And if you're simply using React, so you can just build applications for the web, right? So I'll just give you an overview that how we can create React applications and what all things you can do with React.js, right? So for that, I'll just share my screen. Okay, just give me a moment. I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so is screen visible to everyone? Is my screen visible? Yes, guys, if my screen is visible, just write yes or no. Not visible? Okay. Okay, so now we can start with React, right? So for learning purposes, I'll just give you a reference. Okay, you can visit React.js official website. Okay, if you search React.js, so on the top only you will get the react.dev website. Okay, after clicking this website, so this is React official website and official documentation also. So you can see React, the library for web and native user interfaces. So as I told you, with the help of React.js, you can make web-based applications that run on the internet or native applications that run on your mobile platform, right? So you can simply click on Learn React, then you can see their documentation comes on, right? So you can go through this documentation and you can learn each and everything with React, right? So for creating a React application, there are some different tools, right, on the market. So first tool is CRA. Okay, so CRA is Create React App. Okay, CRA in React. So CRA stands for Create React App, right? So this is one of the tools by which you can create a React app template, okay, for your web app. Right. So simply you have to run this command npx create react app and my app on your terminal, right? Then other tool that we have is Vite, right? With the help of Vite also you can create a React app, right? So you can see Vite is the build tool for the web. Okay, it is blazing fast front-end build tool by which you can create templates for your web applications, right? So there are some benefits of using Vite. So which option we are going to use? We are going to use Vite, okay, because it is used for modern next generation web applications. CRA is little bit old and you can see it is also deprecated, right? CRA is deprecated means it is no longer maintained or updated. So that is why I'm not going to choose CRA. I'm going to choose Vite as my tool for creating React application, right? So now what you need, okay, I'll just give you some prerequisites. Okay, what all things you need for creating a React app. So the most important thing is Node.js. Okay, so there should be Node.js installed in your system. So after installing Node.js, you can easily create React apps, right? So Node.js is simply a JavaScript runtime, okay, through which you can run your JavaScript code inside your system. Okay, so what next? We will simply go to the desktop. I can make a new folder, and here I can name that folder as React. Okay, and we also need a code editor. So in this session, I'm going to use VS Code as my code editor. So I will simply open that folder inside VS Code. So you can see React folder is open. Okay, let us close this Copilot. We don't need Copilot. Okay, I trust the authors. So this is what you will see on VS Code, empty folder named React. So now what next you have to do? You just simply open the terminal, new terminal. Okay, and on the terminal for creating React app using Vite, just write the command npm create Vite. Okay, and I'll also give at latest, so that latest version of Vite will be used. So this is a very basic command, npm. Npm stands for Node Package Manager. Okay, so just like we have pip in Python, so we have npm. So it is Node Dependency or Package Manager. So I'll just write create command. So npm create Vite tool we are using and its latest version. Okay, let us hit enter. Okay, so now you can uh, project name. Okay, so I'll just give the project name as dot slash. Okay, because I want to create my project inside the same folder, React folder. So that is why current directory I'm giving. Okay, select a framework. So we will just select React as our framework. Okay, but it is a library. Okay, and select a variant here. We will use JavaScript variant. Use Vite 8 beta experimental option. So no, we don't want any experiment option. Install with npm and start now. So yes. So now it will create a basic template for your React app. You can see, right? And it is also installing dependencies from npm. Okay, what all packages we are using inside our application. And after that, it will run our app. Okay, so let's wait for it. Okay, you can see it is starting a server, and this is the URL on which I will get my application. Okay, so you can see I've clicked on that URL, and we are on our React app now, right? So you can see Vite plus React. It is running on our local host system. Okay, and it is also giving me some counter to play with, right? So whenever I'll click this counter, count is increasing. Okay, I'll just close all these websites. We don't need it. Now, on the one hand, I will keep this application, and on the other hand, I will keep my development environment, right? So let us, I'll just give you an overview of this React template. Okay, what all these files are. So first we have node modules folder, right? So node modules folder contains all the dependencies and packages that are being used by your React app. Okay, that we have installed from npm. So in node modules, we will see all the dependencies of our project, right? Then we have this public folder. Okay, so public folder contains static files, logos, images, right? So you can see we have this Vite logo here, right, which is being used here on the website. Okay, then in the source folder, you have the main code of this website, right, inside this src source folder. So when you open this, you get some folder named asset. Okay, assets are also static files, just like images, logos, which are being used. So you can see React logo is there. Then we have app.css file. Okay, CSS file is basically used to give designs to our pages, styling to our pages. Okay, then we have index.css also. So these are also some designs. Okay, you can see I'm getting font related properties. Okay, color related properties. Then we have this main.jsx, okay, which is a JavaScript file. Okay, JSX is simply JavaScript extension. And we also have app.jsx, which is also a JavaScript file, right? Then we have this git ignore. Okay, git ignore file is for managing your project with Git, right? So that is git ignore. Then we have some linter configurations. Okay, so what linter configurations do? Whether you are making any error in your code, so this linter will create a yellow or red line, okay, on the code. So that is why we have this linter option. Then we have this index.html, which is being run on the browser. So this HTML page is running on the browser now, right? Then we have package lock and package JSON files. So these files contains all the information related to our project. You can say metadata of our project. So project name, right? Project version. Then we also have dependencies. Okay, development dependencies, production dependencies, whatever we are going to use in our project will be listed here in package.json file. We have this readme.md, right? So readme is simply an instruction file by which you can read the instructions how to run this project, okay, how to make changes to this project, everything is explained here. Then we have some configuration of Vite tooling. So you can see we are using React plugin here, okay, for creating this React app. Right, so we don't need this Vite.svg logo, so you can simply delete this public folder, okay. Then we also no need assets. I can delete this assets also. Okay, I don't need any styling app.css. Delete this app.css also. Okay, we don't need any styling in index also. So I'll just remove all the properties. And we don't need anything inside app.jsx also. So I'll delete everything here also. Okay. So now you can see I have this main.jsx file which is calling this app file. And now whatever you write inside this app file will be visible on the screen, right? So now what we need to do? Now I'll tell you React is based on component based architecture, right? So you have to make components in React, whatever you want to show on the screen, right? So what are components? Components are simply functions in React, right? So you have to simply make a function here. I'll make a function. Okay, function name I will give app, because the thing which is called here is app. So that is why I'll make a function named app. Okay, and we will export this function from here. So export default app, right? So now what this app do? This function will return something called JSX. Okay, now what is JSX? JSX is JavaScript extension. Okay, by which you can write HTML inside JavaScript and JavaScript inside HTML. Right. Simply, I will give one h1 tag here. Okay, so h1, now I am using basic HTML. Div h1. These are tags in HTML. So I'll just write hello world here. And if we come on the screen, if I refresh it, so you can see hello world here. Right. So this is how we can make things in React. Right. So now, in today's webinar, we are going to make a very interesting application that is called Advice app, right? So what is this Advice app do? Okay, so there will be a button. So here I'll make one button. Okay, and I will write inside this button get advice, right? So whenever a user will click this button, get advice. Okay, so one random piece of advice will appear on the screen, right? So this is what we are going to do inside our application, right? So whenever a user will click that button, advice will appear on the screen, right? So by for that, what we are going to use, we will use one API. Okay, advice API. So you can see on the top, you will get this JSON API, right? So now what are APIs? I'll just make you explain. Okay, so APIs are simply the connectors of front end and the back end. So now in for this we have only a front end. Okay, that is based on React. Okay, we are not making any back end. Okay, so there is one API. So API connects your front end with some back end. Okay, so there is some back end already pre-built. Okay, by someone, and there is the API of that server. So if I copy this API and if I paste on the browser, and if I press enter, so you can see one advice is coming. So when it doubt, just take the next small step. Okay, so this API, this URL is connected to some server which is written by someone, and from that server it is giving me some data. Okay, so this data is coming from the server. Now what we will do, we will use this data inside our application. Okay, inside our React app. So for that, what we will do, we will just go to our application. So here we need a package. Okay, so I'll just close my server. So we need a package called Axios. Okay, npm install Axios. Now what is Axios? Axios is a package through which you can send request to the API. Okay, to the server through some API. So here also you can see I am sending one request through my browser to this API. So in React app also we need some functionality through which we can send requests. So that is why I have installed this Axios package. Now once again I will run my server with npm run dev command. Okay. So here for sending the request, let us import that package. So import Axios from Axios, right? And here I will make one function. So function get advice. And what this function will do, it will call this URL with Axios. So I will make one response. So const response, a variable is equals to, then Axios dot get method we will use. We are sending a request. And you can see you have to give a URL in strings inside this. So I'll just copy this URL and here I will paste it. Okay. And now let us just write console log. Okay, response. Now what we need to do, we need to make this function as asynchronous. Okay, so I'm making this function as async because this function will take some time to execute because we are doing a thing or a task which is taking some time. So whenever a request will go to any API or URL, so it will take some time. So we will wait for this response. So I put this await keyword. So async and await. Now, where we have to call this function, we will call this function inside this button. So whenever this button is clicked, so I'm using on click event here. So on clicking this button, we need to call get advice. Okay. Now let us go to the browser and see what happens here. Okay, so it will refresh our React app page. And if I click on inspect, the inspector is not coming. Yes, now it is coming. So let us go to console. Okay, now you can see if I click this button, get advice. So you can see some data is coming to my application from the server. So you can see the data is coming inside this data key. And inside the data, we have this slip. Inside the slip, we have advice, right? So we can access this advice. So I'll just go to here. And here inside the response, we have some data, and inside the data, we have slip, and inside the slip, we have advice. So data.slip.advice. Now let us come back here, and if I refresh it, now if I click on get advice, so you can see it is giving me an advice, right? It always seems impossible until it's done. It is a very good advice. So now what we need to do, we need to show this advice here on the screen, right? So for that, what we can do, first we need to store this advice. Okay. So where I will store this advice, I will store this advice into a state. So now what is a state inside React? State is simply a variable in React through which you can save some data, okay, inside the component. So I will make one state. So const, okay, then I will destructure this state advice, comma, set advice, the setter function is equals to use state. So use state is a feature of React. So you can see it is auto imported from this React library. And inside this state, you get two things. One is a variable that is advice, and one is the function through which you can change this advice variable, right? So advice variable and set advice function. And if you want to give some default value to this variable, so you can pass this inside the function. So I am giving this variable a default value of empty strings. Now I will come here and I will run that function set advice, and what I will set inside the advice this. Okay, so copy it, and paste it here. Okay, now after setting the advice, what we need to do, we have to make one element. So I will make one h2, and inside the h2 I am giving curly braces. Okay, why I'm giving curly braces inside this HTML? Because this is JSX. You can also write JavaScript inside HTML. So inside the h2, I will pass my advice variable that I have made, right? So now let us go to here. Yes, you can see it is giving me so much of errors. If I refresh it, so every error is gone now. Now if I click on get advice, so you can see the advice is coming on my screen. Okay, if I click it again, so you can see again we are getting a random advice. If I click it again, you can see another advice. If I click it again, so every time it is giving me a random different advice, right? So this is how you can make interactive applications using React.js. Okay, now you just implemented the basic functionality of this application. We are clicking a button and one advice is coming, right? If you let us close this also. Okay, if you want to implement some additional features, you can also do that. So let us say I want to count how many advices I am reading. So here I can give one h3 element. Okay, and here I will again write the curly braces, and I'll give the backticks, and I will write one string. You have read. Okay, you have read count pieces of advice. Okay, so count, I'll make one variable named as count, and I will increase that count whenever this get advice function is called. Right. So if you have read count pieces of advice today. Okay, so this is I have given here. If I come on the screen, let us refresh it. Okay, it is giving me error because this count is not defined. So we have to make this count. So I am making this count as another piece of state. So const count, comma, set count, the function, and we will simply use state, and count default value will be 0. Okay, um, 0, right? So now what we will do after setting the advice, we will set the count. So set count. Okay, so how we will set the count? In the count we will add 1. Okay, so now you can see it is showing you 0. Now if I click on get advice, so you can see count is also changing, right? So you have read 1 pieces of advice today. Okay, 2 pieces of advice, 3 pieces of advice, right? 4 pieces, 5. So like this, we can also implement count. You can also implement another feature like you want to give some limit. Okay, only 10 advice can read per day. So I will give one h4 here. In the h4, I will give one note to all the users. You can only read 10 advice per day, right? So you can also check the limit here, or you can say you can only read 10 advices per visit. Okay, so now I'll just check. I will just use if else here. Okay, so if okay, so if count is equal to is greater than 10. So what we will do nothing, return false. Okay, and I will use else also. Okay, return false. So now you can see if I refresh it. Okay, so if I click it one time, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. Okay, now you can see count is increasing. Okay, and but you cannot see the advice now. Okay, no new advices is coming and no count is calling. Okay, count is going 11 here. Okay, no issues. We will set the count here. So set count 10. Okay, and if you want to give one alert, you can also write one, give one alert also. Okay, so you have exceeded the limit of advices. Okay, so now if I come back here, if I refresh it, now if I click it, okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so after 10, you can see I'm getting alert, you have exceeded the limit of advices. Okay, once again, if I click it, okay, you have exceeded. Okay, let us do here count should be greater than equal to 10. Okay, I guess this will be more validating. Okay, now if I go to 10, now you can see I get the, okay, now it is working fine. Okay, so this is how you can make interactive applications by which you click some button and some advice is coming. You simply like this, you can also make a jokes app. Okay, so if you search here, you will get the API of everything you want. So joke API. So you can see there is this one API also. Okay, so if you call this API, it will give you one random joke. Okay, in the jokes also you can give some filters, right? So that type of joke will come to you. All right. So I have also done a webinar on jokes app also. So guys who are watching uh, this webinar can also watch my jokes webinar in which I have make a joke app. Okay. In this webinar, I have just built a advice app. So now let's have some time for Q&A. If anyone have some questions, they can ask me in the chat box. Yes, guys, any doubts, any question answers? Okay, if you need code, okay, if you need the source code for this application, I'll just share it with you. So don't worry. Okay, I'll also give you the code. Okay, I'll just paste my link here. Okay, so this is the link for the code, okay, which I have made today. So you can visit this link and you can get the code of app.jsx file, right? And quiz link is also there, right? So you can go to this quiz link and you can give the quiz and get your certificate. So everyone, guys, just go to this link. Okay, attend the basic quiz. It will be a very basic quiz of React, which things just we talked about. Okay, and after giving the quiz, you will get your certificate. Yes, thank you, Pawan. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Chandika. Thank you. Thank you for being such a nice audience. Just guys, go to the quiz. Okay, attend the quiz, and you will get your certificate from there. Okay, guys. So let's call it a day, and hope to see you in my next webinar. Right. So hope to see you again, guys. So thank you, everyone.